Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for the Women's Eye podcast. I'm Catherine Anaya, your host, where you will meet fascinating women who are leaving their mark and making a difference in the world and changing lives. This episode is brought to you by Casco Financial Group in Phoenix, Arizona. Catherine Scrivano is the president of Casco Financial Group, and she founded her business to help people create the financial strength needed for achieving their dreams. My guest today is the CEO and Executive Director of Dress for Success Phoenix, Lisa Doromal. Hi, Lisa. So good to see you and talk to you.
Hi, Catherine. Such an honor to be here with you and looking forward to it.
Well, thank you. We've heard about the impact COVID-19 is having on nonprofits and organizations around the world. Dress for Success is one of those who's had to shut its doors at a time when our community, our women in our community need you more than ever. So first, if we can begin, tell me a little bit about what Dress for Success does, because it's more than just providing work clothing, professional clothing for women, right?
That's correct, Catherine. So Dress for Success in normal circumstances, we offer a continuum of services to help unemployed and underemployed women successfully break down those barriers to employment. And we also provide the long-term job retention programs to help them remain employed and elevate to the next level.
And you have done amazing work because you've been able to serve thousands and thousands of women. How would you describe the average client that you serve?
So she is a woman that is either unemployed or underemployed. And we don't like to say a disadvantaged woman, a disenfranchised. We help women. And she's either coming to our boutique because she has an upcoming interview or she has successfully landed employment.
She is a woman who can come from any walk of life. You and your staff, you're working from home right now because of COVID-19. You've had to close your boutique, as I mentioned. Tell me how the crisis has impacted the way you're able to continue to provide those services, those essential services for women, and the developmental education that you provide for them now more than ever, when they're either out of work or still looking for work at a time when it seems few people are hiring, although there are still some people hiring.
Yes, so like many nonprofits, our business has been affected. We have shut down. We are awesome because we are nimble and we have adapted to our new normal, and we're offering all of our career services with the exception of the suiting program, but we are offering all of our career services virtually. And so what does that look like? Well, that means if a woman is looking for work, has just recently been laid off, she can still contact Dress for Success and we will point her in the right direction. She can attend our monthly job readiness classes, which is called our Fast Track to Success. In May, we will be increasing those classes to have them every single week. And we are breaking down those barriers as to why she is not getting the callbacks for interviews. And we also have virtual volunteers, companies that will provide ongoing support, mock interviewing training, how to write your resume, how to do virtual interviewing, because our life has changed and no one's doing face-to-face interviewing. So we're coaching, we're teaching that. Once you have secured employment, you get an invitation to join that fantastic job retention program called our Professional Women's Group, which we still have over 200 members, and they meet twice a month, and we're providing that support to help them navigate through these difficult times. What does that look like? And just being there amongst your peers and letting them know that we're there for you. We're going to help you through this. If you've lost your job, we're going to be there, right there with you, helping you get that resume up to par, and just being there for a support system for our women.
Yes, being proactive and making sure that you are in the perfect position when we do get past this to regain employment and maintain that employment. I'm so impressed by the way you've been able to pivot in this time of crisis to continue to provide those essential services for so many women. So thank you for that. This
Yeah.
is not the first time that you've had to make some tough decisions in the middle of a financial crisis. You know, you were back in 2007 deciding that you were at this point in your life when you really needed to make a change. And that's when you decided to try to bring Dress for Success Phoenix here. Tell me a little bit about what was happening in your life and how you found the strength, the courage, and the wherewithal to approach something like that in the middle of a recession.
Well, back then I was like, as I look back, I was like, my goodness, what was I thinking? Um, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had a 5-year-old, and then I gave birth to my daughter. And as many stay-at-home moms feel, sometimes you feel a little isolated. I was so ashamed to say it at the time, Catherine, but I felt so lonely, and I always felt like I said to myself, if something happened to my husband and I, what would I have? I don't know. It came over me. And so I just said, what would I do if I got divorced? If something happened to my husband and I had to go out and support myself and my kids. And I know as women, we sometimes find ourselves in that situation. Maybe your marriage is going through something, and I was a new mom again, and I wanted to do something to give back to my community. I still wanted to be a mom and be a stay-at-home mom, but I needed something more. And so I had remembered this organization back in the Oprah show, and it was Dress for Success. And luckily for me, Phoenix was a targeted area that the worldwide organization wanted to be in. And as you mentioned, we were starting with this economic crisis, as we now know it, the Great Recession. And so I just disciplined myself, and I wrote a business plan and submitted it, all while breastfeeding, doing all of that good stuff, and being a mom to my 5-year-old. And so yeah, I got approved, and I said, oh no, that wasn't the exact words that I used, but I said, this is for real. This is for real, and it's going to happen. And the need, just like we're seeing now, the need was so great. But if you're a nonprofit, you need funding support. And so that was not there. I was the new gal in town. I was a new organization in town. And I put my head down, and I made those relationships with agencies to let them know that we have a great service for women. And there we go.
And here you are.
12 years later, and another a pandemic. Oh my goodness. And so, all that work prepared me for this. I mean, I have to look at it like that. And it's not fun. It's scary. But we know we're going to get through this. And now I have a great team, and we provide a vital resource, and we're going to be ready for that next wave that we know is about to come in the next few months.
Well, and I think that you having expressed that to me many times, and probably to your clients over the years many times, I think they probably draw some inspiration from knowing that you have experienced some of the questions that you've asked about where you are in life, and if you're doing what you should be doing, as I'm sure a lot of women experience, myself included, through the years. And I think now more than ever, people can probably draw even more inspiration from the fact that you were able to build something during a very challenging time, not just in your personal life, but in life in general for everybody who was dealing with the crisis at that time. So I applaud you for all the success that you've been able to create for yourself. What is it about Dress for Success that drew you to that particular organization?
So when I decided to do this or do something, I asked myself two questions. What do I love and what am I good at? And I love helping people, and I love, I'm a fashionista at heart. I'm a clothing, textile, and fashion merchandiser by degree. And I love fashion, and I always have felt, I love clothes. And when you put an article of clothing on, there's a certain power and inspiration and empowerment that goes on. When you look good, you feel good. And I was just drawn to that. And it's just in my nature is that I love to help people. I love what Dress for Success does. I love what it invokes in other women. This organization was the perfect fit for me. It was your spirit. It was God speaking to me. And so it wasn't an easy task, and still isn't. But nothing that is worth it is ever easy, right?
Yes.
Why would we do it, right?
That is so true.
So it was a perfect fit. And so I put my head down, Catherine, and I forged along. And then, you don't do this stuff alone. You have great people helping you along the way. And for every setback, there's always a comeback. And there's a lot of setbacks, and you just have to persevere. Perseverance is a good attribute to have. And I can say that I have perseverance. And so now we just have to roll up our sleeves once again, and do this, because the need is going to be, it's going to be great and grand and scary. And here we go. Got to be ready.
But we will get through this. You are proof positive that is certainly something that is attainable. I want to talk a little bit about Dress for Success, being that it is an international organization and Phoenix is one of its affiliates. Are the other affiliates experiencing the same type of challenges that you are? And with that hardship, are you able to collaborate and share ideas and initiatives that are working maybe for one affiliate that might work for another one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's great about you're part of a sisterhood, and I get inspiration from particular affiliates that are doing something. They call me, and we're all in this together. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I think of good ideas, and someone I was like, someone in Iowa, Des Moines, they thought of something really good. And in Houston, we're all doing what we can, and it's great to be part of a sisterhood, and keeping that lines of communication over. I'm always humbled to see what other affiliates are doing, and the services that they're offering, and what may work here in Phoenix may not work in Houston. What may work in North Carolina may not work in Portland, Oregon. But that's what's great, and we try to help one another. And some of us are further along than other ones. Some of us have been around for 13 years, and someone's just launched their affiliate, and I just say, God bless you, just hang in there. You have to hang in there, and because it's scary. Starting an affiliate is like starting your own business. It is starting your own business, and you have to have entrepreneurial, you have to have grit, you got to have perseverance. But it's great to be part of a much larger organization that has a global presence, and that we're touching women all over the globe, right? We are touching women
Yes.
and their families, and trying to think of ways to now deal with COVID-19 and the effects that's going to have, plus poverty. It's yucky stuff, and it's complex, and so we need each other. We need each other.
You've witnessed countless women turn their lives around, change the trajectory, not just for themselves, but their children. They're able to find personal fulfillment and professional and financial independence. What does that mean to you personally, to know that you play a part in that?
Blessing. It's blessing. When you see a woman who was incarcerated, addicted to drugs, and now has a state government job that pays $70,000, and what we have taught on our job retention program about saving for a home, and she was able to buy a home, and what she has learned, she has duplicated it to her daughter, and now her daughter's buying a home. That's how you change poverty. That's how you can change the trajectory of someone's life. It's knowledge, it's compassion. And one of my staff persons that you've met, Catherine, Miss Mary, she's got a famous quote: when you know better, you do better, right? When you know better, you do better. And sometimes our clients, they haven't had the best upbringing, or there's been trauma in their life, and they don't know any better. But when you have the opportunity to teach somebody, and to love on them, and meet them, most important, meet them where they're at.
Yep.
And give them hope, and show them different ways that you can empower yourselves. That's an amazing thing. And when you're impatient with a client, and it's hard, and you don't understand why they're doing the things that they do, and then we find out 30, 60, 90 days later, they got a job, and they've been employed for 3 months, and you're like, oh my goodness. And that's just what we do, Catherine. And it's amazing. It's a blessing to see. It's a blessing. And sometimes you can't wrap your head around that, but blessing for sure.
So it's a blessing, but it's also a tremendous, I'm sure, responsibility that you have, because obviously you're responsible for securing the funding to keep these programs going, and to keep Dress for Success open and able to continue providing the great services that you do. So how challenging is it going to be to maintain the fundraising that you need, and how can people help?
So I always, in my brain, I like to I can't say the word, put them in 2 categories. It's
now I'm stuck. Compartmentalize.
So it's programmatically, and then fundraising. So the programs, we do amazing work on that. Fundraising, we have really improved, and really have adapted really well. But for all of us, fundraising, it's always a work in progress, right? And now with this COVID-19, we've had to shift. We've had to reschedule 2 events for sure, and we don't know what our largest event in November is going to look like. We don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks, and so that honestly keeps me up at night, and with ideas. What are we going to do? Because I'm not so sure our gala is going to look the same way that it's looked for the last 11 years, right? And so That is scary in itself, of course. And I have to also remember, I'm not the only nonprofit that's going through it.
Right.
We all have to change. And so that's what we're doing. We're changing, we're pivoting. And it's a fine line, Catherine. I feel you have to, as a fundraiser, you have to come off desperate, but you also have to do your job because you have staff that is depending on you. The women that we serve, we got to keep the lights on when we do go back, and we got to be able to be part of that relief and recovery. And we need any and all financial donations. Everything is important now. If you've given to Dress for Success before, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you, because we have those people that love us, that know us, and they know the good work that we do. If you've never given to Dress for Success, when we get back to opening our boutique, come take a tour, because that speaks volumes to
It does.
What we do. But consider giving to us, because we're going to put people back to work, and that's what everybody really wants. We want our economy to get back, and we are an industry leader of helping women get back to work and remain employed and thrive.
It's what you do well. I want to remind people that they can donate at phoenix.dressforsuccess.org. Again, donate, volunteer when you're up and running again, because of course you can always use volunteers. Do you think, Lisa, that you'll be able to return to where Dress for Success was before the pandemic, and what is it going to take to get there?
It's going to look different, because safety is at the utmost priority for me and my staff and the women that we serve. I don't think it's going to look the same, Catherine, the first few months, honestly, but we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that our staff is safe, our clients are safe. So we're gonna make sure that we'll do that. And our new normal is going to be new. It's just going to be
for all of us.
For all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be so patient with one another. And we just want to let people know that we're here. We're here to help on a virtual capacity, and we will get back. We'll get back. I don't know when that is. I'm not an expert on health. I leave that to the people that know what they're doing. So we'll see, Catherine. We'll see.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for all that you've done, all that you continue to do to help women gain their personal and financial independence. And yes, you will be back better than ever. I have no doubt. Thank you very much for joining me on the Women's Eye podcast. I appreciate it.
God bless.
And by the way, thank you.
Thank you.
You can learn more about, go ahead.
Sorry.
There's this little gap in the Zoom world that we have to sort of live with. So I apologize.
No problem. I just wanted to say thank you so much for thinking of Dress for Success and allowing us to share our story.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anything we can do to get the word out for all the wonderful work that you do, we are here for you. So thank you again. And you can learn more about Dress for Success Phoenix by going to our website, thewomenseye.com. Also, we should point out that The Women's Eye has a book. It is called 20 Women Changemakers. Shop for it wherever you buy books and at changemakersbook.com. That's going to do it for this episode of the Women's Eye podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Catherine Anaya. Until next time, remember, it's the world as we see it.